God is saying to you. Stop scrolling for a breath and bring your phone up like it's a little altar. Because the words you're about to hear aren't random notifications. They're a nudge, a knock, a hand on your shoulder from a place that sees more than the headlines do. Archangel Michael is leaning into this moment and speaking through the ordinary. This message on your mobile is meant for you. It landed in the scroll of your day for a reason. Maybe you clicked because the thumbnail pulled you in. Maybe someone shared it. Maybe your thumb moved without thinking. Whatever the breadcrumb that led you here, don't let it slip past is just another video. The timing is deliberate. Divine timing has a way of arranging small coincidences into a line that points directly at a truth you've been circling for some time. Imagine a scene. You late at night, phone on your chest, the room warm with the hum of air or the distant city, and a thought that won't leave you, a question about a relationship, a tug toward a dream, a restless feeling at your work. You open your phone, and a message steps out with the exact cadence you needed, not a thunderclap of revelation, but the soft illumination that shows the shapes that have been shifting in the dark. That's how most divine nudges arrive in the modern world. Not as smoke or blare, but as the humble ping of a device that suddenly feels like a mailbox from heaven. The message may be short, a single sentence. It may be an image that slides across your screen and lingers in your mind. It may be a phrase that lands like a compass needle finding north. Pay attention to it. Something in you already knew why you came. There is a kind of holy patience in these moments. The message will not always make itself fully understood at once. Think of revelation like the slow opening of a curtain. You see a sliver of light, then a little more. And by the time the curtain is fully drawn, the entire room has changed. That's why the video, the line, the notification that found you is less about delivering every answer immediately and more about starting a sequence of recognition. Divine timing rarely zaps us with full understanding. It puts a key into our palm and waits for us to find the lock. Your job in the next hours is simple. Pay attention. Resist the rush to explain everything and give the spark space to become a flame. Often the unlocking that happens after one of these messages begins internally before anything externally shifts. Heartbreak begins to loosen its grip. Clarity begins to show up in decisions that previously felt clouded. Small signs will gather like an assembly of birds on a wire, a phone call from someone you haven't spoken to in months, a memory that returns with new detail, a conversation that takes on a different tone. Keep a gentle journal. When a message hits you, whether it's on the screen or as a quiet conviction, write down the time, the line that stopped you, the immediate feeling that followed. Over days, those notes will form a map. Often, we discount our own pattern detecting capacity, but your life keeps a ledger of small truths. This mobile moment is the first entry of a new page in that ledger. You might be thinking that sounds spiritual, but how does it work practically? Start small and concrete. If the message lands on a relationship, pause your usual reaction and ask one clarifying question aloud or in your journal. What is the single next honest step I can take? If it has to do with work, draft one action, an email, a small conversation, a task you have avoided, and schedule it. Divine nudges often require courage translated into tiny acts. Break down the big unknown into doable steps and let the mercies follow the motion of your feet. The first move is rarely heroic. It's ordinary, and that ordinariness is where destiny often hides. Healing is another thing that accompanies these revelations. When a divine message arrives at the right moment, it tends to touch wounds that have been numbed by business or soothed by avoidance. Heartbreak, the word itself sounds large and final, is frequently a constellation of smaller hurts, things unsaid, promises that wore thin, grief you've kept in a pocket. The message on your mobile will not instantly erase the ache, but it can begin a process of mending. Let the message be permission to feel. Let yourself cry, to pray, to speak the truth to a trusted friend. Healing often starts with naming what's broken and refusing to hastily repair it with false fixes. Allow slow repair. It is not the fastest route that has the deepest cure, but the one that allows grief to teach rather than to harden. Remember that clarity and healing are not opposites but companions. As you tend to the edges of heartbreak, clarity will come as a byproduct of attention. When you stop doing the busy work of avoiding and start asking honest questions, what do I need? What boundary have I been avoiding? Who have I been pretending not to hear? You create an environment where truth reveals itself. Archangel Michael's voice is particularly strong on the need for honest boundaries. A divine nudge might ask you to close a door you've left ajar for the comfort of others or to set a limit that protects your time and soul. These actions feel small and practical but are often the hinge points of transformation. When you act in line with truth, even in simple ways, the air changes. There is another level that matters. Testing what you sense. Spiritual discernment is not the same as impulsive action. When something feels revealed, run it through 3 filters. First, does this promote life for you and for those affected? Second, does it align with the core values you hold? And third, is the timing right for action given your circumstances? If the answers point toward life, truth, and reasonable timing, move. If not, pause and pray for further clarity. The goal is not to be slow because you fear making a decision. It is to be measured. Because you respect the power of choice. Technology makes these moments immediate, which is both a blessing and a trap. Your phone is a vessel. It can carry grace or gossip, clarity or confusion. Protect the medium as you would protect the message. When a revelation arrives, resist the urge to overshare instantly. Don't be the person who posts a half-formed truth across a public feed. Instead, find 1 or 2 trusted people to talk it through with first, a person who knows your life and will not inflate the moment into something it's not. This is how divine timing is honored. By moving deliberately, not hastily. And if the message tells you something about another person, remember that truth delivered in love preserves dignity. Speak with care and with intention to repair harm rather than to wield information as a weapon. It's important to acknowledge that divine timing does not mean everything will be easy or that justice will fall according to our private timetable. Sometimes revelation breaks open complexity and requires grief to sit in the space before you see the arc of restoration. Yet when the message is true and aligned with goodness, it creates a path through the difficulty. Archangel Michael's voice often accompanies those paths with courage, not a false bravado, but a courage that steadies the heart so the next right action can be taken. Trust that the small steps you take toward clarity will be met by grace in ways that often surprise you. There will also be moments when the message says more than any single action can do. Perhaps it calls you to a new season, one in which your vocation or relationships are rearranged. In those moments, treat the mobile message as the opening line of a longer conversation with God, not the complete script. Ask for guidance. Sleep on it. Journal, pray, and offer the question to mentors. When you feel the call deepen over weeks, allow your actions to deepen, too. These things rarely occur suddenly without an internal recalibration. You will know you are moving rightly when your choices start to align with deeper peace, not frantic busyness. People often ask, what if I get it wrong? That fear keeps many of us in a holding pattern. Afraid to act, afraid to be wrong. Here's the practical truth. Mistakes are not always failures. They are data. The humble person makes choices, receives feedback, and adjusts. Divine timing does not demand perfection. It invites responsiveness. You will be given opportunities to course correct when needed. The key is honesty. Own when you misread a moment, apologize when you harm, and learn the lesson with gentleness for yourself. There are also signs to watch for that indicate a message on your mobile is especially pertinent. Repeated themes in the media, a persistent thought looping in your mind, dreams that align with your waking nudges, or synchronistic encounters with people who say the same thing you've been hearing in your heart. These are not mystical proof alone, but pattern recognition. When several small signals converge, the weight of evidence shifts in favor of action. Don't dismiss the accumulation simply because each point feels small. The Spirit often speaks through a chorus of small confirmations rather than a single loud note. Practical steps you can take right now when a mobile message lands. Pause, breathe, and write down the first 3 things that come to mind. If there's an action to be taken within 24 hours, schedule it and tell a trusted friend so you have accountability. If the next step is internal, create a small ritual to mark the moment. A quiet cup of tea with a written prayer, a short walk while you listen for guidance, or a time of silence before sleep. Rituals don't have to be elaborate. They serve to anchor the spiritual in the ordinary so your heart remembers the pattern of listening. Let's talk about healing again because it deserves more air. When the message prompts healing, see it as an invitation to tend, not as a demand for instant restoration. Healing is like gardening. You clear invasive plants, add compost, water with consistency, and wait. There will be seasons where nothing visible seems to happen and then suddenly the garden blooms. Gentle stewarding counts. Seek professional help when needed. Counselors, doctors, spiritual directors, and don't let pride deprive you of skilled companions. The mobile message might be the first step in the chain that leads you to the exact helper you need. Finally, lean into gratitude for the small things that signal a new direction. A message that brings clarity may also pull open the curtains to reveal small mercies. An unexpected phone call, a reconnection, the courage to speak, the removal of a petty worry that once seemed huge. Celebrate. Do not reserve your gratitude for only the dramatic milestones. God often gives restoration in increments. Acknowledging them trains your heart to see the trajectory. If this message landed in your heart, type "I receive" in the comments as a way to mark the moment and declare your openness to the guidance you sensed. Like this video if it encourages you. Share it with someone who needs a gentle nudge right now and subscribe so you don't miss future messages that aim at living wisely, bravely, and in tune with the quiet timing of the divine. Keep your phone as a small altar. Pause, listen, and then act with courage. If this message has strengthened your resolve today, consider supporting this ministry through super thanks up to $20, helping us continue to deliver these messages of hope, guidance, and protection to those who need them most. Your faith, your voice, and your generosity create ripples that bring light and reassurance into the lives of countless others. Stand firm, beloved, for your safety, your peace, and your calling are being guarded. And the one who watches over you never sleeps. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel to reach 10,000 divine subscribers very soon.